Okay, hi. So right now we want to finish talking about section 1.4 from our section that we started today. We started 1.3, we talked about composition of functions. Now we want to finish talking about inverse functions. So a function f is one-to-one if for every pair of distinct elements x1 and x2 in the domain of f, like lives here, suppose this is our function f, if for every pair of distinct elements in our domain of f, the elements they map to are also distinct. So, to find the inverse of a function, we first have to start out with the one-to-one function. To find f inverse, we replace f of x with y, interchange or swap x and y, solve the new equation for y, and then replace y with f inverse of x. Again, this is f inverse of x. So let's apply these steps to the following example. We want to find the inverse of f of x equals 2 over 7x minus 1. Now, if you take a minute and graph f of x, you will see that the function looks like so. Similar flavor to 1 over x, but it's a little different. Okay, so this is our function. Notice that if we take a horizontal line, think of this horizontal line, and we drag this horizontal line down, it does not cross this part of the graph. It's highlighted. It doesn't cross the highlighted red portion more than once. So that means our function is one-to-one. So f of x is one-to-one. Now that we know f of x is one-to-one, so we've checked f of x is one-to-one. Now that we know that our function is one-to-one, we can proceed with the steps we need to take to find f inverse. So the first thing we want to do is we want to replace f of x with y. So this is our solution. So we replace f of x with y. So we have y equals 2 over 7x minus 1. Now we want to interchange or swap x and y. So we now have x equals 2 over 7y minus 1. So what we did was we replaced, in our first step, f of x with y. Then we swapped or interchanged x and y. And now we want to solve the new equation for y. So we have to multiply both sides of this equation by 7y minus 1. So we have x times the quantity 7y minus 1, that is a y here, equals 2 over 7y minus 1 times the quantity 7y minus 1. Now you see these two cancel out, and that leaves us with x times 7y minus 1 equals 2. Now we distribute this x to each part there. We distribute the x to get 7xy minus x equals 2. And now we want to solve, we're still solving for y. So we have 7xy equals, we need to add x to both sides, equals x plus 2. Now what we're going to do, our goal is to solve for y, so we need to isolate y. So now we're going to divide both sides by 7x. So that's equal to x plus 2 over 7x. Notice that these now cancel, leaving us with y equals x plus 2 over 7x. Now the last step is we want to replace y with f inverse of x. So we have f inverse of x is equal to x plus 2 over 7x. And we are now complete. So we found the inverse of our given function f of x equals 2 over 7x minus 1. Okay, so remember, we check to see if our function is 1 to 1. In this case, or in this problem, our example was our function was 1 to 1. So we proceeded with finding the inverse. This is our inverse. Okay, now properties of logarithms and exponents. Let a be a positive real number not equal to 1. Logarithmic properties. You have log of x times y base a is equal to the log of x base a plus the log of y base a. So if you have the log of a product, that's equal to the sum of the logs. Log of x over y base a is equal to log of x base a minus log of y base a. So the log of a quotient is equal to the difference of the logs. Log of x to the r base a is equal to r log of x base a. Exponential properties. A raised to the x plus y is equal to a to the x times a to the y. A raised to the x minus y is equal to a to the x divided by a to the y. A raised to the x, this quantity to the r, is equal to the a to the x times r. Okay, so take a screenshot, take a picture if you need to, because we're going to apply these properties on the next page. Okay, specifically, we're going to look at the logarithmic properties. You can also be given an example with exponents, and you can do a problem that's similar to that as well. Look at your properties of logarithms. We just use property 3. Okay, now we have the log of a difference, or the log of a quotient, so we're going to get the difference of the logarithms. Example 5, we want to expand and write the expression into sums or differences of the simplest possible terms. So we have log of the cubed root of yz squared x to the divided by x to the 4th. So again, we have log of the cubed root of yz squared divided by x to the 4th. Now, we're going to use the properties of logarithms to expand and write the expression as so. So this is our solution. So first thing we were going to do is we're going to rewrite this logarithm as log of yz squared divided by x to the 4th, that quantity raised to the 1/3. Because technically, this is really raised to the first power, and this 1/3 goes there. Okay, so that's really our exponent. So we have now, using the property of logarithms where we have log of something raised to 1/3, we can bring this 1/3 down front. So this is equal to, using our properties of logarithms, this is 1/3 log of yz squared divided by x to the 4th. Now, remember, if you need to go back, so now that's what we're going to use. So this is equal to, let's move this over a little bit. This is equal to 1/3 times brackets. Whenever you're writing out an equation like this, means the same thing as parentheses. So if you want to write parentheses, use that if it makes you happy. So this is the log of yz squared, which is our numerator, minus the log of x to the 4th, which is our denominator. Now, remember, if we have the log of this raised to the 1/3, this base, whenever we do not write the base, that's an understood 10. So that's called our common logarithm. Now, if you have the natural log, so an aside, the log of x is the same thing as log of x base 10. That's our common logarithm. So this is just terminology. And then another aside, the natural log of x is the log of x base e. That's called our natural logarithm. So if you see those terms used in your homework, you know what they mean. Now back to our problem. We've had a little sidetracking. Let's get back to our problem. So this is now equal to, now we have a product. So this step was using property 2 of the logarithms. Now we have a log of a product. So we can use property 1. So this is 1/3 times the log of y plus the log of z squared minus the log of x to the 4th, right? But we're not done yet because now we have the log of z squared. Because we have this as an exponent, we can bring the exponent down front using property 3. So this is 1/3 times the quantity, log of y plus 2 log of z minus 4 log of x. Okay? And this is our final answer. We've expanded it and we've written that expression into sums or differences in the simplest possible terms. Okay? Happy homework.